Good evening, guys. This is your friend Ayush Agarwal. So here we are starting an illustration, understanding an illustration, which is from your accounting module of for foundation students, which is illustration number 2. This is a very basic illustration which I have taken from the BRS topic, which is your bank reconciliation statement. As per this topic, bank reconciliation statement, we prepare bank reconciliation statement in order to match our cash book balance and bank passbook balance if there is any mismatch, right? So in every kind of questions you will get some transactions which are given in order to match your bank and cash book balance. So here in this illustration also there is a mismatch in your amount as which is shown in your cash book and the amount which is shown in your passbook. First of all, why these two should reconcile? These two should reconcile because, sir, the effects which have been taken with respect to cash and bank will be governed through the cash book or the bank passbook, right? Every kind of entries which affect the cash book balance and bank passbook balance is made in the cash book also and is shown in bank passbook also. Majorly there is we assume that there is no disturbance from the bank side because the normally bank is usually up to dated, right? So here normally the difference arises due to the timing and unawareness of certain transactions like your bank interest credited, bank charges charged, right? So here in this these kind of questions we will take a base in our hand. Let's say that, sir, here in the first instance we have been given the we have been given the cash book balance which amounts to 2,40,000. If we read out the certain transactions which are given here, and after that at last it is given that, sir, the passbook is showing this balance. So this balance and cash book balance is not reconciling. We have to reconcile the two. So first of all, let's take this thing in mind that, sir, if my cash book balance is 2,40,000, right, I have to arrive at my bank passbook balance, right? So let's say that, sir, the second thing, a transaction is given which says that, sir, the check issued but not yet presented for payment amounts to 1,36,000. That means that means what? That means that my bank passbook is higher. What this line mean? This line means that, sir, I have issued checks, but those checks have not been presented by the parties in the bank for payment, right? That means, sir, my bank account balance is increased. That has not decreased. But I have done what? I have issued an entry that, sir, my cash is credited and my bank is debited. First of all, this contra entry I have made, and then I have credited my bank and debited my parties creditors later, right? Right, sir. So that's how I have made an entry which ultimately decreasing my bank balance. But in this case, the bank ultimately has not decreased, right? Because at the time of issuing the check I have made that entry, but the checks have not been presented in the bank. So that means I have to just look at with what my bank account is taking into effect. So here my bank account is increasing, right? So I have to add on this amount in my cash book also, right, to arrive at my bank passbook balance, because I have already told you that my cash is reducing. I have reduced the cash because that cash is deposited into bank debit to cash. Then I have credited the bank parties account debit, right? But that parties have not presented, so that means this 1,36,000 also needs to be added in my 2,40,000 amount, right? I think this makes a sense to you. Now in this third point it says that, sir, checks deposited but not yet cleared 90,000. That means what? That means, sir, I have deposited cash in my bank account, but that bank account is not reflecting that debit in my bank account because that is under processing, right? That means what? My bank account is not getting increased by this 90,000. That means I have to reduce this 90,000 amount. I think I am making sense to you. And this bank charges which I was unaware. So this bank charges of 300 I haven't entered in my cash book. Understood or not? That means for by this 300 amount I have to reduce my cash book also, right? Because my bank passbook is getting reduced by this 300 amount. So that means this should be reduced. Interest credited, this should be increased because my bank is getting increased. And after doing these transactions, we will definitely arrive at this figure. I think there is no such confusion in your mind. Let me just show you. Let me just write down each and everything. So first of all, add on let's add on what we have to add on. This checks issued but not yet presented for payment, right? I have told you the logic earlier, right? Right, sir. So checks issued but not yet presented for payment, I am writing down here, which amounts to, guys, 1,36,000, right? I am just adding down this. And in the second transaction, checks deposited but not yet cleared, my bank should be reduced, so I am reducing this. Checks deposited but not yet cleared, right guys, but not yet cleared. So this 90,000, this is a very basic question. I think that no one is getting any kind of confusion in this question, which amounts to 300 rupees, right? And I am adding down this interest credited, which was amounting to 1250, right. Okay, sir. Now if we do the calculations, this will definitely give us 2,86,000 and 950 ka amount. Just go through the calculation part, we will get this figure, right? So I think that's this question is clear to you all, right? Okay, guys. Okay.